Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful, nice week on a Monday morning in our nation's capital, Nigeria. Good morning, everybody watching around the world. A lot of things that are happening in the polity all through the weekend to this morning. We're going to be here analyzing it on Landslides News, giving you all the beautiful insight of how the good, the bad, and the ugly, and what to hope for. The hope that we have is what is keeping Nigeria and Nigeria as a nation alive. Look at the past, look in the present, and project to the future. And that's why I say again, good morning. And with me on the studio is Peter and Philip. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things bright and wonderful, the Lord God made them all. That's how Philip is looking this morning.
Thank you.
And Peter as well.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's go into the matter. One of the matters that has been trending in the Nigerian media space is that of Showore and the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike. I mean, Nyesom Wike was on television and they asked him, do you have properties? He said he doesn't have properties anywhere. But with clear evidence, Showore brought out his properties in the United States, some in his wife's name and others in the kids' names. So now, how do we go about that? Now, Showore has also said that he has written to the attorney of the state, where those properties are, and it's a ball of fire that is rolling. Who is it going to consume? How is it going to change our political space? Now, a lot of other things are coming. Those are things we will be discussing. Let me start with you, Philip. Showore has been on the news with Nyesom Wike. Are there good times for Nyesom Wike?
Well, I don't have much to say about Showore and Wike. It's their private and individual, matters. I haven't, have a look at whatever has transpired as regards Showore written to the Attorney General of the Florida to get all the details that he put in the air. So I don't want to speak on what I don't have much information about. But having said that, it's going to be a trying time for the FCT minister, because if what I hear that is in the media is true, if it's anything to go by, then Wike had to show cause why Nigeria shouldn't take those information serious and why he shouldn't face prosecution, because he had denied to Nigeria on a public television that he had no property outside the shore of this country. But here is showing proof that he has property outside the shore of this country. And this is a man that's supposed to be a man of honor and integrity because of the office. It's a man that is saddled with the management of public fund and offices. And if he's coming to say all of this and they are proof, then it's a trying time for him.
All right. 80% of Nigerian population are wallowing in poverty, barely can eat. And now, one of the most prominent person in this particular administration, having been a local government chairman, a chief of staff, a minister, a governor, then now a minister, another ministerial post for him again, the Federal Capital Territory. I mean, there was a time that this one was not rumor. He had an exotic car. He drove an exotic car to a function, and now also he's been accused of land grabbing and so many other things. Of course, he was at the center of the River State emergency rule between himself and his God is a political son. Now, damaging evidence of papers of his landed properties in the United States.
It shows the kind of country we are in. Let's look at Wike critically. Prior to his being involved in politics, we don't know Wike as an industrialist, as a businessman that has made money in business. So for him to be able to acquire such properties, it's mind-blowing. But we know how much they pay governors. We know how much he should have earned as a governor legitimately. We know how much he should have earned as a local government chairman legitimately. We know how much he should be earning as a minister. So from where did he get those money? I came out of live television when he was challenged. Said he didn't know that his wife, he said he didn't know that his wife and his child owns luxurious property in UK, in United States.
On national television.
He said he didn't know that your wife and your child. And when people lie, see, I tell people something, every lie has a expiring date. And sure, they was smart. They didn't release the full details before he went on air. After he did that, they released full details. They showed it clearly, him and his wife transferring ownership of those properties to his children. And you say you didn't know. And there's a proof that you only transferred as of 2023. It means that these people, they don't believe in our country. Where the money got in from? It's Nigeria. They will lose this country dry and they'll take the money to another country to go and invest. That is height of wickedness. So why don't you keep the money here? Since you said the country is working. So why go and invest in other countries? I hope surely should extend the satellite to UK, France, every other Western country. But that is where they warehouse the money they loot from us. You looted from 250 million Nigerians. And you take it to a country that is well run. It is unacceptable. They have medical issues, they will run abroad, and they live at hospitals, and they're the one that have destroyed our health sectors. It's a health sector. Everything they've done shows that they don't believe in this country. Because if you believe in a place, you invest in it. If they believe here, their investment should have been domiciled here. But they don't. Go to Ghana. I was amazed when one of my friends was telling me he came from Ghana. He said Ghana is owned by Nigerians. Go to South Africa. Go and see the investment in South Africa. But yet, you cannot develop your own country. You cannot make the country attractive to foreign investors. Why would a sensible investor come and invest in Nigeria when he knows that these people that have exploited us take their money abroad? So what are you telling them? Nigeria is not a safe place for investments. So this wicked thing should not blow away. We should keep on front burner. You should tell Nigeria how he was able to acquire so much wealth to buy those properties. Because he has not done any business outside politics. And if he's from politics, that means he has looted rivers dry. Majorly, that money is for Riverside because it was in 2023. He transferred those properties to his children. Then he has not made money from federal, from the central.
No, he was a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you for taking me aback. So you need to explain to Nigeria where he got those money from. Wicked case will keep amazing you. If they're unending.
Well, Philip, it's not just about Wike alone, because Omoyele Sowore said that it's not just about Wike, it's about the politician that is in the National Assembly. Governors, he mentioned governors all over the country. He said he will be bringing out revelation of every one of them. A police officer, a soldier, a school teacher, a vice chancellor that have looted Nigerians dry, and he's going to be bringing out all the properties they have. So it's not just a witch hunting of a particular guy, but things must start from one place. Now, if we get this information, what are we supposed to do with them?
You see, what Sowore is doing is what a true activist should be doing. You know, this is why the government are trying to gag Sowore. If you remember, the government has taken Sowore to court on criminal charges, prompt charges on the cyber crime, bullying. They've charged Sowore as formerly Twitter and Facebook, and the owner of those social media. This is why the SERAP has gone to court to compel the Attorney General of the Federation
to drop the charges.
Because if you are talking about democracy, sorry, I'm going to digress. If you are talking about democracy, the media, the fourth estate of the government, should be allowed to operate freely. This is why Sarah is saying that this freedom of expression is entrenched in our constitution, and by virtue of our signature to international treaty that has to do with human rights, this cyber crime shouldn't be. This is why the likes of El-Rufai is saying that the signals are there that this government is tending towards authoritarianism. That even in the days of Obasanjo and Buhari, who had military background, we never had it this tough. So they know that the likes of it is not only showing, there are so many Nigerians who can get access to this information. So what do they now do? They now came up with this cyber crime act to gag the media, to gag people from speaking. So it should be commended on this for taking steps to bring to the notice of all Nigerians what Wike and other serving officers are doing to the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian people. Who could have thought that after because they believe that when we say that somebody was speaking over the weekend. Who said it? Is it last week? It was I can't remember, but he said that the judiciary had lost its voice. The person was talking about the state of emergency, that when the judiciary is supposed to speak, they deliberately stay away from speaking, allowing the suit file against the state of emergency not to be heard. He said initially Wike came out to say that one of the terms of settlement is for the 11 PD governor to withdraw the suit. And when the PD governor insisted on the suit, what they now do, they now had to wear it and they make sure the case never came up. So try to do everything to gag the opposition, to gag any opposing voice, every decent criticism.
Let me say something. Even during the military couldn't stop the courts from bringing up cases.
This is where I'm going. So that is why the military were able to, the opposition was able to fight the military out of office. But with the way, you see, I can't help but to agree with with El-Rufai that Tinubu might just become the Pobia of Nigeria, because the way you see, everything that will make the opposition die, is it the political parties, is it the media, whatever thing that has an altar of opposition is being crushed.
See what happened here is that they know the power of social media. This is what they use 110% to fight with Jonathan. What was said about Jonathan on the air? They call him names, they push out narrative, and they push so hard that people put into the narrative.
But this government don't seem to care what anybody says.
Because they know the power of social media. Because they don't want people to, they don't want news that you cannot see in the mainstream media to be there. But mainstream media, they've been cowed. That is that they can't dish out. But these things are not on the social media platform. So what do? Try to pick those people that own this platform and say how you can cover them or induce them or to publish this news. See, news on social media flies fast, 100% faster than what you see in mainstream media. And that's
because it's at the push of a button.
That's where you get uncensored news. So they used it effectively against Jonathan. Now they're in the office now. The same tool you use, you don't allow people to have access to it. And thank God, these companies are not based in Nigeria. Imagine that Twitter is a Nigerian-based company. Imagine that S is a Nigerian-based company. Imagine that Facebook is a Nigerian-based company.
They would have run them underground.
They would have asked SES to deregister them.
Even though they are not a Nigerian-based company, even today,
they are still carrying them.
You see that, ask everybody around, all the people who are operating under the social media platform, their views have been reduced drastically. Yeah. Who is doing this? It's the government. They find a way of ensuring, like you said, from any news coming out, because this is the power that the people had, the opposition had, to stand up, to pass the message across to the masses, for the masses to know what the government is doing to them, the evil. So what they are doing is to ensure that, like you said, is what they use So they know the tricks. That's why, El-Rufai said, all this why they were pretending to be Democrat, all this Nedeko thing and all of that. They were never Democrat. But I'm not surprised, like what we saw in Nepal, a guy who was an activist at the age of 23, who went to jail, came out to become a dictator when he happened to be in office. So it's very sad that when you have these people that at one point or the other we look up to them, that this might be the people, these are freedom fighters that will help us to to devolve power from the center. They are the one trying to concentrate all the power in the center, not just on the center, on themselves, because whatever they say must go out. So this is what is happening in the case of Wike. Wike felt he's a damn god. He can do and undo. How can a man who transfer property to his children with his wife said he do not know that the wife and children had property abroad? And the child, a child of 23 years, where has it worked? The child just graduated how many days ago? Where was he working in school? At what age that was he started working to earn that kind of money? So if he doesn't have property abroad, those properties should become Nigerian property. They should be confiscated. See,
at this point, to me, Showore has done his bit.
Exactly.
It's not left for Nigeria, especially the NBA, this organization.
Is it the NBA? The opposition?
The opposition, no. To go and fight case in
But the opposition doesn't seem to be coordinated in some way.
Because the government doesn't want it to be coordinated.
But they too have not also acted coordinately.
But individuals have the means.
You see, it is the government. Where do I say so? When this government started in 2013, when their platform was not distorted by the city government then, but you can see this, the antecedent of this government, every platform that could be used by the opposition is being distorted, and they play the card of ethnicity. Anywhere you have a man that from the side of this president in any organization, any platform that could stand as opposition, that man is being used to be the clog in that wheel of progress. So this is the tactics is different from what it used to be. That is why you feel that the opposition are not organized. They throw jab everywhere they go. They throw jab. They throw beans. They throw corn, and people, because they weaponize poverty, when they see the corn and the beans, they pick them and they forget their goal. This is what happens.
Let's talk about the states a little bit. Just the states. Let's leave the legislators alone. Let's talk about the states. The states, what we have in our state is, in our nation or in our federal structure, is like federating units, where the states have power to make money for themselves, apart from getting money from federal allocation, because all resources goes to the center. But they still have some residual powers to make money. But the states have not fed, I won't even say well, they have not fed good at all. The governors have become demigods. They've also coerced the opposition. They've merged the legislature with the executive. The state governors.
See, you see, this is the issue. The issue, you cannot, you see, on paper it appears to be federal, but in reality, it's not even unity. It's a one-man government. That's what I said. The present government is concentrating all the power on the president. I will not even say on the central. So that is why you see governors elected under political platform. They had to come to the party of the president to survive. That's to tell you that it is the president that determines what happened in the state. Look at what is playing out in Kaduna State. Whether you like it or you don't like it, it is not the will of Sani Uba to fight his ex-godfather. But he has to survive because the power is with the center, is with the one man. So when you talk about the state had to have enabling environment, just like every other citizen, to operate freely. But
Peter,
before you ask a question, I'm going to River State. Okay. Take for instance River State. What do you think? Is the River State Fuba, was he not elected as the president elected? But what happened to him? That's to tell you how much the state has been coerced. All their power has been taken away from them. If you misbehave, a state of emergency will be declared your state, and that's the end of your regime. So you have to control to the president to remain in office. That's the point we are today.
But during the time of people like Sule Lamido, Rotimi Amechi, they stood up to the president. So why can't we have governors at this stage? Now, if a governor does exceptionally well in a state, and we can see the hand of development, do you think that the federal might will still have those powers to clamp them down?
How do you expect the governor to do very well in the state when most times you pick the least in society, the governors? How do those governors emerge? Are they the best qualified to run the states? Most of them are handpicked, not because they are qualified, because they know they will do bidding of their paymasters. So look from state to state. It's just very few states you can see people that have the credential to man that position that are there. Look at their CVs. Which of them have worked before? Which of them have controlled 1,000 people on their payroll before? Governance is not magic. If you don't have it, you don't have it. Most of them don't even have a plan before they come to office. So what are you going to execute?
So I want to add this to you. I heard the former governor of Abia State, Ikpazu. He said the reason they couldn't tar the road was that demons made sure they couldn't.
Somebody that gave praise to himself, say, thank God, it was on my watch. ShopRite came, Superbet came.
That they could give 5,000 naira to a woman that is giving birth.
Give birth. So it was 500 naira. So it is not, he didn't say that because you know what to say. That is whom he is. See, most of them do not have any program. What do? They look for somebody they could control and place there. Somebody that has no program to run a state, somebody that has no experience, somebody that have not worked anywhere. So that is the problem we're having. And the few ones that know what they want, what they're doing, they see their states. Look at their states. Look at Oti. He has been an MD of Diamond Bank. You don't want that wake up and become an MD of the fund Diamond Bank. You go through the rank. You get that experience. You learn the trade. See the result. Look at others.
On the issue of the credentials, Pastor Paul Enesha of the Dunamis Church was speaking, was it last week? He was saying that what is the kind of person that Nigeria will elect to be the next president? And he read out the credential, or rather what the requirement, the criteria will consider. He said it should be somebody who had lived his life and has track records. Somebody who had made his own money, not people who wake up as politicians today, tomorrow they become a billionaire, they have the biggest house in their village. He outlined those credentials, and that's what leads credence to what Peter is saying. Go around all the governors seated today, especially in the South, starting from Delta State to Bayelsa, Rivers, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, and across the nation. You will see that the only occupation they have, or rather the only thing they have done all their life, is politics. Maybe they start as a councillor, they become member of House of Assembly, they become speaker, and now they are governor. Or they were civil servant, they were accountant general, they work effectively with the governor, and the governor see that he can steer very well, then he becomes governor. These are the kind of people. Then he was a pastor, he was praying for the governors, and they find him one. Just go through their credentials. So that is why Nigerians, this kind of thing, Chowore is doing. Like he said, Chowore has done his bit. It's left for the Nigerian people to take it upon themselves, to ask questions, to ensure that Wike come to explain to Nigeria and to Rivers State people what the owners of those houses in Florida.
Philip, we have had hold on. I want to stay on Philip for a while. We have had Wike alleged to have allocated land to his children. We have had Wike grab land. We have had Wike in so many things. Nothing he has ever explained to Nigeria. Do you think this is an exception?
You see, everything that has a beginning has an end. He might be getting away with all of that. But at this point, if Nigeria mean to do something, he should explain to Nigeria. Or the president to do something. He can't have this kind of a questionable person in his cabinet. If what he proclaimed in Brazil that he had corruption has ended in Nigeria, and we still have this kind of person, questionable person, a very important figure in his government with all these baggages, then the president should start thinking.
This one will be a bad, how do you say it, a big bone in his neck, because
going to swallow.
Yeah, because now he doesn't continue to share it there.
Well, I think we will all be here because the present president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, was alleged to have faked his certificate from Chicago. The news was reported to America. Nothing came out of it. Well, let's leave it there.
Have you noticed that the president has not been traveling to the US?
Sorry? He went to the US the other day.
For official function.
Well, let's leave it there. It's all right. We hope that, because Showore has promised us that a lot more are going to come up, and we hope that when a lot more will come up, it will be enough to incite the people's indignation against this stupid, nonsensical, idiotic rules or governance that we have in our country. It shouldn't be condoned. We are more intelligent and wiser than what we are seeing today. All right, still on the nation. I couldn't think the way I really want to think. Local governments in Katsina State are now going into negotiating with bandits to leave. Tears nearly rolled down my eyes when I read that. Philip.
Yes, you see, this is where we are in this country. It is this country that we're told by this sitting government that they have, crush, terrorism and banditry and all of that. That peace has returned to the north. That the north is fully with the city president because the president has been able to stem the rising of banditry, kidnapping, and all of that. And here we are, Katsina State, home of APC as it were, because the former president from Katsina State. 9 local governments or more had signed a treaty deal with banditry for them to leave. So, in other words, in Katsina State, we have 2 republics: the Republic of Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Republic of the Banditry. You see that from what we are seeing, the most powerful
are the bandits.
Because the government officials of the Federal Republic of Nigeria are going to negotiate and sign deals submitted to the authority for peace to reign. And the chief of defense staff, the chief of army staff, the national security advisor will come to tell us that there's peace in the north, that they have made an inroad into insecurity, that they've annihilated about 1,000 something of terrorists, and they have rescued XYZ number. They kept ripping up the figures, the data on paper. Well, we don't see the reality. From security to the economy, to health, to education, to infrastructure whatsoever, their data is only on paper. We can't see it on ground. And this is where it is. It has started in Katsina State. More than half of the Katsina is under the control of banditry. And we don't know, we've not talked about Zamfara. They might be keeping their own quiet. You understand? It was the same Katsina that we saw the governor and others went and met banditry. And the Nigerian army with them, then you see the banditry and the army, they are tapping each other's shoulder. And these are people who are supposed to be fighting to crush. And when El-Rufai will make the statement that, look, banditry, his idea about banditry is not to negotiate with it, is to crush them. When El-Rufai alleged that this government is doing this with the banditry, they said it's just ranted because it was not favored. Is this still coming from El-Rufai? So it's clear that this government, they are handling the banditry with hand glue,
kids gloves,
because they are having this with them, preparing them for what we don't know, and they come to tell us different things. Nigeria should be wary of this government.
Peter, every local government as it is now has a right to negotiate with people that rules it. Are there going to be election conducted in this local government during the 2027 election? Because I can't just put my mind to it.
Do they want election to be conducted in those places? This is a typical example of a failed state. No matter how you look at it, a state that the government that be there should provide security and they're seeking self-help. That shows the level of failure that exists today. How can we, in this dispensation, allow our local councils to go and negotiate with bandits? That means we are ceding Katsina to banditry. And one thing about these people, once they see that you're weak, they'll keep expanding their coast. They're going to end with, of course they won't. You can't even call the local council to order. They've seen that part of Nigeria to these
bandits,
hoodlums. That's what they say, bandits. And somebody is in Abuja telling us that security has improved. Like he said, I want to. I
think he's an opposition.
Yes. He paid them. He has data. He has proof. Say he also come up with his proof. Just few weeks later, it's playing out. Meaning that no one weapons is empowered
for their own personal gain.
So all become of Nigeria. Now we say probably because it's not, we don't care.
Yeah.
No, it is part of Nigeria.
No. Even the movement is not, I mean, we hear that of Enugu every day. We hear that of, all over the country. I don't know, Philip, it's appalling where we have degenerated to. And most of the time when you talk, I know in cases like in developed country, when issues like this come up, those in authority will stand up and give us lowdown of what is happening. When you talk most of these things in Nigeria, nobody listens to you.
So this is where the issue of Sowore come back to play here. When you gang what they are gagging the media. So most of these things, they are not in the media space.
Mainstream media don't carry them.
They are not there. Because we hear of Casanova because it slipped out of their hand before they know it. You see, when you say there's re-compromise with government and the banditry. Take for instance Zamfara. What have you heard about Zamfara? In early part of this year, there were a splinter group in Sokoto. Yeah. What have you heard about that group? Have they crushed the group? Did you hear anything about it? They have entered a kind of agreement with them. So this is a very, very terrible, dimension in governance. You see, when government is too concerned in remaining in power than to do governance, in play politics with everything.
These are the things
this is what you get.
It's very.
So when you talk about security per se, there's no security. And if you see, like I said, of government is to provide security for lives and property of the citizenry. And here we are, we can't even guarantee the protection of our lives. We have to go and it's
an enabler of all that do evil in our society, whether it's from in the east or in the west, in the south. You can just come up as a wielding guns and disturbing the society or the community or the local government or the whatever area it is, and the people now say, okay, since we are not seeing government coming to protect us, let us sign a pact with those that this is. You see, most of the time when people talk to me, they say we're always criticizing the government. I wish I will stand up on a morning and be said, where we are going in this country, it looks like a doom's journey, that the president's wife is soliciting funds to build a library instead of looking at how we can set up superstructures, critical structures that are dilapidating in our schools, in whether it's wherever they are, America, UK, all over. I went to a public government school, and now we can match with anybody all around the world. Are these things being eroded, and the president's wife is concentrating on building a library? And Obi quoted the wife, the husband, as the president of Nigeria, saying that the best legacy you could give is education. Are they neglecting this education, Philip?
You see, Obi was very, straight in his argument. That look, in his days as a governor of Anambra State, he did say that nobody should celebrate his birthday by going to paper publication and presentation of cake and all and presents, just like the Mr. President wife had done. That is a laudable, a statement by her that the president priority. That instead of the government prioritizing such as the library, the National Library, they prioritize yacht, mansion, private jet, on worthless trip abroad. That it is sad. Instead of government to budget to complete the National Library, they are now asking for handout and donations as per birthday donation and bow to complete the National Library, which supposed to that were finished. Because how can a government prioritize private jet yash to travel by water, and I want to use the yash, and this thing is run into billions of naira that could be used to complete even the National Library. The president wife now take, it's a dear project to her heart that they wanted to be, completed. Yes, if it was really, really dear, it should have been budgeted for and executed. Now Peter Obi said, look, the truth remains that he agreed with the Tinubus. I don't know whether the wife that said it or the husband, that education is the best legacy you will leave behind. I think the wife said it.
It's the husband. Yeah.
The wife also said it when he was asking for the donations. But the education, Peter Obi is saying that education is what you can nurture in the, you can bring at the classroom and nurture in the libraries. And these two positions, they are not prioritized. That's because if you buy this yash and this private jet, they will wear out. But a solid education will continue to grow, and eventually will come from there. And this very important area of our life, this very important segment of our society, is being given such attention as donation to ensure that it functions. While other things that vanities, he said a leader that give priority to things that are vanities, then he won't lead the country anywhere. Like such as traveling abroad and luxury journey and all of that. And then you now consider that this education and library should be the thing that people should donate, charity donation. Whatever that comes from charity is what you put for them. If you can complete it, fine. If you can't complete it, you wait for the next birthday because it's 65. When you are 66, you ask for more donation until it's completed. Meanwhile, you are budgeted for the ferry. It's a sad thing. There's no priority.
I don't hold this against the first lady. For me, I will comment her.
Neither did Obi hold. You don't understand what Obi said. He said we should prioritize the government.
Obi is saying it's because the society has eroded. Now, most of the time, when presidents are building or their wife are building libraries or their NGOs, most of the time is when they are almost out of power. It's not when they are sit-tight government.
She's not building a new library.
The library is to complete the library. The National Library has been there.
I want to join Nigerians and especially Obi to wish our president wife happy birthday. And I pray that God will sustain her in good health, and we should commend her. Obi does not have issue with that, but what the issue we have is that why would a private citizen ask for donation to complete our national library? That is the question we should be asked. So she doing that shows that the government has failed. Government that is your husband, that is the chairman, could not vote money to complete this project. When it was, two things came to my mind. That project was started, I think, by Obasanjo. Probably that's why the APC doesn't want to get involved. It's still standing there. Why won't they vote money in to complete that project? That it needs President Water to capital to donate to that cause. It is what we should do. It's not able, but it is not right. It is our national treasure. It is where we could gather information, knowledge to develop this country. We cannot play lip service to education sector while in reality we're not funding it. How are our schools like? How are our federal schools like? How are our unity schools like? Go to our unity schools. Before now, it used to be pride of every child, every parent that their children in unity school.
It was
brag about it.
It's a big pride.
We brag about it, but then nobody wants to send their children to unity school because they're in a horrible state. Nobody is taking care of it because these people that are saddled with this responsibility, their children don't go to just schools, so they don't see any need to improve them. They don't invest in it. That is where Obi is concerned. There is no investment currently in our educational system. How can we say we invest in the education system while we are not completing national library? In the same Abuja, we spend 49 billion. How much is to do conference center?
If you put that for 39 billion in national
library, you know what you bring that. In the same Abuja, we are renovating a vice president lodge with how much? That is what will be. Here is where he's going to misplacement of priorities. We constantly misplacement our priorities. Invest in what that will help the society. National Library, National Conference Center you spend so much on. How many people have used there? What is the impact on the society at large? What is called benefit ratio? But invest in this library. People can go there and study. It will be a reference point. So what Nigeria needs now, as Obi is saying, is sound mind, trained mind, educated minds. You don't get them in international conference center. You get them in schools. You get them in library. That's where they go to equip themselves.
You get them in these critical institutions that are going down. Now, let me take, because our time is fast spent, El-Rufai and Atiku met, trying to know how to plot to remove this present government. Then El-Rufai made some statements. El-Rufai said Tinubu is not a genuine Democrat. El-Rufai says Tinubu wants to be the Paul Biya of Nigeria. And the presidency came out and said presidency blasted El-Rufai over life's president's claim, and the Tinubu won't rule Nigeria beyond 2031. So there are claims by El-Rufai. There are also counter claims by the presidency, and said Tinubu is not going to go beyond 2031 if given the opportunity, and Tinubu doesn't want to be a life president. But the things El-Rufai has said, are there credibility in them?
You see, well, El-Rufai has an opposition that he has said his own, but what really interests me, the whole story, the claim and counter claim, is what the president said about El-Rufai. Said is that El-Rufai hallucinating and he needs counseling, and that there's nothing like the president want to be a life president. But El-Rufai is on the opinion that from all indication and indices we are seeing, for instance, the case of Sowore and the rest of them, it shows clearly that this president is heading towards a life presidency, like what happened in Rivers State, what is happening in Katsina, where local government are seceding to banditry. What it means that when there are chaos in those areas, there will be no election. They could just announce the result and they continue to remain in power. So yes, El-Rufai might not be saying the whole truth as an opposition. He must embellish it to suit himself. But like we always said on this platform, when statements are made by opposition, it is not always right for the presidency to respond. Rather, they should take the statement and analyze it and see how they can, what correction they could take from it and work with it to improve the well-being of the society, not just responding because you want to respond. When you say El-Rufai is hallucinating, it's clear, it's on record that El-Rufai worked tirelessly to bring in this government. He mobilized for this government. Friendship actually doesn't last forever. Yeah. And so if your friendship had failed, they said the opposite of love is hatred. And then that's what is happening between people. But we can't take away the fact that all is not well with this country. And what El-Rufai said about the happening, they are not entirely lies. They are truth in them.
Let me come in.
No, hold on. There's a way I want to direct my question because we don't have much of that time. First of all, Nigerians don't also trust El-Rufai. That's the real truth. Nigerians don't also trust Atiku Abubakar. But you can't say you don't trust El-Rufai. El-Rufai is on two sides of dimension. You cannot also not like El-Rufai. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. As much as you don't trust him, you can also not trust him. Do you understand? The same thing with Atiku. Now, these two opposing figures, we cannot also say that we have not seen tendency to which this presidency want to be a life president, or want to be a Paul Biya, or want to be this or that. We cannot pay deaf ears to what El-Rufai is saying. No matter how we don't like him, we still like him. I don't know if you understand. He's a man on two opposing sides. You can't dismiss the fact that what El-Rufai did in Abuja doesn't stand. You cannot dismiss that fact.
Course.
Do you understand? He said this pay for the development that we're seeing in Abuja today. But what should the presidency do?
See, let's leave the messenger. Let's look at the message for me. El-Rufai has his own flaws, which every other human being has. Let's look at the message. Let's look at Paul Biya. Paul Biya did not set out to become life president of Cameroon at initial state. That wasn't the plan. Both of us were watching a national, I won't call it television, where a country in Africa, the Senate has changed, that opened the tenureship base of running for presidency, that the president can recontest. He has said that the times allocated to him by the constitution. See, these things are not usually planned for. What El-Rufai has said, let's look at it critically. What has become of our National Assembly has been captured. Who is going to amend the law? If need be, if the president asks for it, it's not National Assembly. Between you and I, can this National Assembly say no to Tinubu?
Voice vote.
No, can they say no to Tinubu?
No, they will use voice vote.
If Tinubu demands this, can our judiciary as of today stand up to defend our constitution as of today? That is what we should look at. People should stop throwing jazz and look at the message critically. What he has said, the signs are everywhere. The footprints are everywhere. Our military as of today is controlled 100%, only 10% by Tinubu. You don't say anything against government, the SERAP won't come after you. Our mainstream media don't give us news anymore. They are afraid of being sanctioned. So what are we not saying? The signs are palpable. All right. It is possible. That's what he's saying.
All right. We can't go further than this on matters arising this morning. A lot of these issues that have been brought up are not just mere allegation or looking for a way of how to criticize the government. There are issues that in our polity that we experience on a day-to-day basis. Whether El-Rufai said it or whoever said it, let's forget who said it and let's look at what's really on the ground. What's on the ground is that 80% of Nigerians are hungry. What's on the ground is that bandits and terrorists are signing peace deals with local government in some parts of Nigeria. What's on the ground is that our educational system is flawed. The health sector is almost gone. What's on the ground is that Wike is alleged to have properties somewhere in the US. We have not looked at other places he may have property. These things are truth, and that's the things we are looking at that are not right. Much later in the evening, we are going to bring you other life matters arising from this time on to 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. Please make sure you join us. Thank you.